Hey, welcome back to the Signature Movement. It's your girl Tanya D. Floyd. I'm in here on this 80-degree day. I'm gonna go out and get some vitamin D just shortly. But I just had this overwhelming feeling I needed to talk to somebody. And you mind if I talk to you? Because I really can't think of who I would pick up the phone and tell this to, like, uninterrupted and without stressing them out a little bit. The people that's gonna watch it, and they not gonna be triggered like if I was on the phone telling them. I think, but anyway, I just didn't feel like picking up the phone and calling nobody and telling them all this stuff because it's a lot. It's a lot. But your girl been struggling. Okay. Now, I've been in some self-imposed therapy. I make myself get a certain amount of vitamin D per day. I have laid back. No, I haven't. I ain't laid off or laid back. But I eased up on the chocolate just a little bit. A little bit. I don't get it every time I feel like I should have it. Like every now and then I look around and I be like, it ain't enough snacks in this house. Why isn't there enough snacks in this house? But I'm in charge of snacks, right? So, yeah, when the stress be stressing, I just be like, whoo, child, don't buy the M&Ms. So my compromise was to buy this dark chocolate situation, and I eat like one or two a day. But I got the grandbaby hooked on them too, so now I got to share, and that ain't really that much fun. But anyway, neither here nor there. Not what I came to talk about. I came to talk about how the stress be stressing your girl. Okay, look here. You heard me mention, and you might have heard me talk in detail, on one video or another. I believe one of them was called New Levels, Here Come the Devil. And then I did one about I Hate It Here, There's Got to Be Something Better on the Other Side. But all of that was just a little bit of innuendo about the situation because I was still in the situation and I had to go to court for the situation, right? But the situation is over. Well, it ain't over. It's back. Okay, let me explain. So I went to court in June 2022 and I lost. I've said this. I never told you the whole situation though, right? I I got this stomach ache that won't leave me alone, and I already know it ain't about food. It's about stress. It's about unresolved issues. It's about withholding information. It's about holding stuff in. I've been on this whole rampage, yes, rampage lately, letting people have it, giving them all of it when they do things that I don't like or that cross me or that disagree with me or that straight out disrespect me. I'm giving it to them now. I ain't restraining nothing no more. And it's not like, I'm just taking it out on other people. I have prayed on this thing, let me tell you. I have prayed on this in depth. I'm like, Lord, please just tell me where the line is between being peaceable and being humble and, doing things the way you want me to do them and when I'm going to turn the tables over. Just let me know when it's okay and when it's time to go ahead and turn them tables over. Like when Jesus went in the temple and they was doing wrong, he was like, hold up, turn tables over. So, yeah, I'm trying to see where the line is, right? And he told me, go ahead. So I went. And let me tell you, I feel a million times better now that I have given people what belongs to them. Okay? I'm going to keep doing that, though. It feels really good to just, because I got a lot going on. I don't have time for this petty little stuff. These little people things. These little irritating things that people do to try to get me to, you know what I really hate? Feeling like I'm being manipulated. And it's not always, when people do it, it's not like they're just trying to get you to give them something or do something in the moment, like make you move a certain way. It's like, for some people, it's sport. They like getting into your head and pushing your buttons and trying to like really move the pieces around the board in their favor. And like, you ain't nobody, like you don't matter. Like what you say ain't never gonna hold no weight, or like you just ain't nothing, right? Please keep that away from me, far away from me. And because I was using restraint, they thought it was just, they was winning. Nah, I will cut you. Yep, I'll fight you. It hurt, but I will fight you. We're not doing that, okay? We just not. So, I had to let some people know where they at with me, honestly, completely, without restraint. I think we understand each other now. Please don't play with me. Just because I'm trying to be on my spiritual grind, don't mean we just gonna keep doing stuff to Tanya D. Floyd, okay? No. But anyway, there's this one big fight I'm in. I can't win it by myself. I already know the Lord is working on it. He been working on it. But I just have this like I said, it's this pain in my stomach about the thing. So let me tell you about the thing. It's been 5 minutes and I ain't said nothing about the thing. Okay, here's the thing. In 2017, I had a fire in my house. It was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because at that point, I didn't have the ability to make all the changes that I would want to make in my house to make it the, designer showcase that I would want for my business to look like, I do this. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have what it took, but the fire came and it affected all 3 levels of the house. So, bam, I got a redo, a refresh, and I added some things into the after the fire stuff, and I got literally from top to bottom everything touched that I wanted touched. A whole redo, right? We knocked down a couple of walls, but only a couple. But it was just a breath of fresh air after the fire. It was traumatic, and yes, it took me 6 months of my life out in a temporary residence, but it was great, right, after the fact. However, it was not without stress because during the process, I was dealing with this contractor. Now, first of all, they didn't start nearly on time. They started, let me see, fire was in April. They started really working in July. But they did some things before July to make me think they were going to start working, right? And since it was an insurance claim, it was kind of like a money grab. But for some reason, it's looked at like a victimless crime if you just, overcharge on the insurance claims because the insurance company got plenty of money, right? But part of that money was for me to rebuild my life. And I took that seriously, and I was going to use it to rebuild my life, right? And I did. However, when the people came up with some bogus charges, I questioned it. I was like, hold it. Where did this come from? I ain't signed for that. I ain't agreed to that. I don't even know what that's about. And then they were like, well, we gave you this service, and somebody got to pay for it because you already got all the money out the policy. So here's how it works. I've talked about this once before on a video about insurance, but here's how it works for those who don't really know. So there are 4 parts to your homeowner's insurance policy. There's the part that pays you for your personal items. That's why you need to look at your policy too, because personal property, what do they call it? Oh my God, what do they call it? It begins with an R. But anyway, where they pay you how much it costs today to replace the thing you lost that you might have bought 20 years ago. What is it called? Oh my God, I know this. But anyway, they got the personal property part where they give you today's value for the things that you lost, even though they're aged, right? But how they do it is another trap. They give you part of the money. They take, you give them an inventory of all the things you lost, right? And then they assign it a value based on when you bought it and how much it's worth now with depreciation. And it's significantly less than what you would pay for. Like, say, if you had a sofa you bought 20 years ago, you wouldn't have paid $3,000 like you would today for it. So they're going to give you 20 years ago price with the depreciation, and then later on when you give them all the receipts to say you did all the work that you said you were supposed to do, blah blah blah, then they'll give you the rest of the money of what it will cost today. Replacement cost. God dog it. It's replacement cost. Basically it is whatever you lost, we're going to pay you what it will cost you to replace that with today. So if you lost your whole entire living and you give them a list of 32 pages of items that you lost in the house and pictures and this and that and the other, they're going to send you this big fat check for all the things you lost so you could go buy it again at today's cost. Anyway, then they got this part where they pay for your lodging, like, what do you call it? Loss of use. So because you can't stay in the house no more, they're going to pay for you to live somewhere else. They got a budget for that too. And then they got another part where it's like, the actual construction cost to put your house back together, the dwelling. So you got dwelling, you got loss of use, and you got replacement, personal property replacement, right? And there's another piece that I can't remember right now, I think, but anyway, all of that stuff your insurance will pay for. But the contractors know this, and they know they got like hundreds of thousands of dollars in your policy between those sections where you're going to get paid. And if they make a claim against your personal property replacement, then they can get a nice big fat check, because that part is usually substantial amount, right? Like $100,000. Say if your house is worth $300,000 right now, then you're gonna have like maybe $100,000 for your dwelling repair costs, or actually it's gonna be the $300,000 for your repair costs or whatever, and then they're gonna give you however many days you're out of your house, they're gonna pay for that, and then they're gonna pay for the stuff that you lost. So you can stand to gain a whole lot of money, right? But what they do is, and what this company did was, they counted on me getting personal property replacement money. That part they put in your hand. The insurance company gives you a check for what you lost, so you can go back and buy it, right? But the company decided that they were going to rush me, pack up all my belongings early in the process, and store them. Okay, well, if we're going to start construction, that makes sense, right? But it sounds to me like that should be part of my construction budget, because you need to move that out the way to do the construction, right? But apparently, I didn't know at the time, but apparently that is something additional that will come out of your replacement cost money, because it's your personal items that got packed up and stored and moved and this and that and the other. But an argument can be made that it's under the construction budget. But anyway, in this particular case, the people took all the stuff away, and 5 months later, I got a bill for $32,000 because they did that. And because I had already gotten paid for my replacement items, everything that was lost, there was no money in that piece for them to steal when nobody was looking. Because they were just going to send the bill to the insurance company and get paid, because that's how it works, right? But anyway, so the whole process was slow. They did a crappy job. They created bills that did not need to be created. And then they sued me 3 years later, saying I didn't finish paying them, which I didn't, because part of what I didn't tell you is they did not touch the third level of my house. They was arguing back and forth so much about this one little created bill for $32,000 that I said I wasn't paying them. They said they was going to stop work, so they did, and they never came back. So the exterior parts where all the smoke came out the windows and everything, and blackened up the paint, they never touched any of that. They never touched the basement where all the water went to, because the fire gets put out. Where does the water go? Through the floor to the bottom, down there, right? So fire, smoke, glass, because firefighters come in with the big old boots and they just crack everything open. Stick, stab your ceiling, break the ceiling insulation hanging out, all that. They do all that. They damage a lot. So it's 5 levels of damage: fire, smoke, glass, firefighters, and water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. Anyway, all of that. So, long story short, long story long. I didn't pay them all their money because they didn't finish the job, and they wouldn't come back and finish the job. I filed a Better Business, the BBB report. I filed that, and they kept saying, well, she need to pay us our money because she know what we did for her. Basically, just crap. I thought about going to the Home Improvement Commission, but what they did not do, or what they did wrong, was not easily identifiable where I could go into a court or the administrative judge or whoever you go before and say, okay, they did a sucky job on the paint. And then, that's time and money, because you got to bring your own experts to say they didn't do a good job. So, yeah, my stomach was hurting like it is now. The whole time, it was like this big obsession for me. I was just mad the whole time, and I kept being sick. And I was like, this is running my life. They didn't get all the money. I got paid. I got it finished. I paid somebody else that money to finish. My house is great. I'm good, right? But right at the 3-year mark in Maryland, there's a 3-year statute of limitations on contract disputes. So if you got a problem with a contractor, you got 3 years from the time you discover the problem to report it or sue them, right? Right before the 3 years was up, they sued me because I didn't pay them all that money. I'm sorry, because I didn't pay them all the money that they claimed they were due. Let's get that straight. Went through the process, hired a lawyer. Well, during the middle of the process, my lawyer got suspended from the bar. What? What? Woo! Right before the people were ready to depose me, I didn't have a lawyer. So I went looking for a new lawyer, but I couldn't afford these new lawyers because of the mess and the layers and layers of mess that there were. Nobody really wanted to touch it for less than 15 grand. I didn't have 15 grand for anybody. Not for that. As a matter of fact, I couldn't get it if I wanted to. Even if I took the equity, I can't take the equity out of my house, okay? Couldn't touch it. Couldn't do nothing with it. So anyway, I went to Legal Shield and I tried. Couldn't find a lawyer that I could afford. I couldn't afford one at all. But I was going to try to put something together. Anyway, so their lawyer filed a motion to say I wasn't cooperating. I wouldn't come to the deposition because I ain't had no lawyer. And they couldn't get the information they needed from me. So the judge pretty much censored me and said I couldn't talk about certain things. So that kind of handcuffed me. Well, now nobody really gonna touch it. So long story long, court date comes up. I still don't have no lawyer. I tried. I put it in the motion and everything. And look, judge, I can't come to court. I ain't got no lawyer. Can we move this? Nope. Court date came. What was I supposed to do? I showed up. Judge was mad. If everybody could do it, we wouldn't have to go to law school. I get that. I ain't trying to be disrespectful. But what I'm going to do? My lawyer's suspended. Oh, he did get unsuspended at some point, but he wanted $10,000 more to continue the case. Yeah, so, really? Okay. But no, my time was up. I ain't had no more money. I couldn't hire a second lawyer, and I got screwed. And when I went to court, the judge was mad, and it was clear that he didn't appreciate that I showed up there, without a lawyer and tried to plead my case. And since he handcuffed me and, told me I couldn't talk about certain things because I didn't come to the deposition. Anyway, we went to court. It was a long 8-hour day. It was terrible, but by lunchtime at 11 something, I knew I had lost. But I still had to stay, and I had to eat it. They lied. Oh, the owner of the company lied so good. Let me tell you, one of these lies was so blatant. I gotta pump my brakes. I had a witness and a professional. I had a contractor who was supposed to come to court with me. He backed out at the last minute. I had a insurance professional who had worked with me through the whole process. A public adjuster is what they called. I had him. He was there through the whole ordeal. We talked about it before, during, and after. And he was fully aware of all the issues and what didn't happen. But when he got on the stand, he said pretty much the exact same words the contractor said. They substantially completed the scope of work. They both said the same words, substantially completed. So what does that tell the judge about me? My credibility is some bullshit, right? Why would he say that? I don't know. Because, again, they never touched 1/3 of the scope of work. How did they substantially finish? And by the way, if you have a mortgage on your house, the mortgage company is involved in the process when you have an insurance claim because they partly own the property. Even though you the owner, they own it too because they hold your note. So the insurance company sends the money through them and they have to approve of how much work has been done. So they have these intervals. You have to have an inspection at 50% and then they'll release some money. You have to have another inspection at 75% and then they'll release some more money. But they don't release it until they come and see that the work is actually being done. So that's how the insurance company gets the money to the contractor. They pay the mortgage company and you on the check, and it goes to the contractor after that. All y'all on the check. Everybody on the check, right? So it wasn't finished. The mortgage company wasn't giving me all the money in the first place. So after I got somebody else to do the job, they released the rest of the money, and I was able to finish that way. So, long story long, like I said. Anyway, my guy said they substantially finished the work. And then a couple of questions came up, and he said, Your Honor, that was 5 years ago. I honestly can't even remember. I don't want to say. And child, you could have bought me for a penny. I was on the floor, theoretically on the floor, laid out, just dying inside. Like, what just happened? And my contractor never showed up. And the judge was like, Have you ever heard of a subpoena? I'm like, I have, but since I'm not an attorney and mine was suspended, I really, I'm kind of at a loss here. So, why am I telling you that story? Because I feel like I never got to tell it before. Nobody really heard me. I didn't get to present evidence at court because handcuffs. You didn't come to the deposition. You don't get to talk now. And after 8 hours of trial, the judge looks at me and says, Miss Floyd, I'm going to have to disregard everything you've presented because you didn't go to that deposition. So that left the prosecution without not the prosecutor, they call him the plaintiff. That left the plaintiff with a disadvantage. They didn't get all the information they needed to proceed with their case. So I'm going to discard everything and judgment for the plaintiff. Now, I already knew I lost. I was sick sitting there through it. I wanted to walk out 17,000 times, but I couldn't for fear of contempt. But yeah, that happened. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to find me a new lawyer when I get some money, and I'm going to appeal it. I had 30 days, right? I found a lawyer, and I appealed it, and I lost again. So yeah, I've been sick since June 30th, 2022. Like, can't even function properly. Because what was that? I was not supposed to lose. When I tell you I had all the evidence, I had every letter, I had every bill, invoice, everything, and the timeline built. I wrote everything down. That's just who I am and how I do things. But I couldn't present it because I was handcuffed. Because I didn't have a lawyer and I couldn't go to the deposition. So, yeah, it took a lot out of me. And, like, I'm still not over it. But I had begun to repair. I had begun to get up off the floor in these last months since June. And I was waiting for them to, approach me with the request for financial information. It's supposed to come where they find out all your assets so they can come get their money from you, right? It never happened. But just the other day, Friday actually, I got a letter saying they were trying to garnish something from some bank accounts. And it sent me back to that place on June 30th, 2022. Even though it's not as severe as the first time, it's still it's a lot, and it's doing a number on me. However, I'm just thinking and praying all the time, like, this has been the biggest injustice ever in my life. Was it the amount? Was it just the principle? Because he lied. Oh, one of the big lies the man told. I was started to say, but I forgot. One of the big lies the man told on the stand was that one of the windows in my house, he claimed one of the windows, you gotta first try to save it. Well, when the fire department came, they broke it out on day one. So I don't know what he was talking about. And then he said because of that kind of window, it's counted as two windows instead of one window. The window is about 58 to 60 inches wide. And it's one of those sliding panel windows, but it's a window, not two. Anybody on the street would know that. The judge was eating it up. But yeah, if my contractor had come through for me, he probably would have been able to refute that, but he didn't. I haven't heard from him since then either. I think he knows. Yeah, we don't need to talk. For what? And he's not just a contractor, he's a personal friend. Yeah. I've known him all my life. And the him and the ha he did. I ain't surprised because people do things like this all the time, but I am very disappointed. And again, I got my ass handed to me, and I don't understand why I was allowed to suffer this injustice to this degree. I had all the proof, couldn't use it. I had a lawyer, couldn't keep it. I did nothing wrong, and I lost so big. What am I talking about? I'm talking about $120,000 when you consider the principal, the invoice they created, you know, and all the extra costs they added at the end. And even when they served me with the court papers, there was $44,000 on there that I ain't never, ever agreed to pay nobody. But they blew the scope of work up and like doubled it, basically. The original scope of work paid like $52,000. But at the end, they wanted like $120,000, you know, for all the different invoices that they had created over the time that they were working or not working. But yeah, ended up being the principal plus interest from 2017 until today, plus legal fees, their legal fees. And we're going to add in my legal fees. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of money is owed to these people who are lying, shyster. Am I offending some groups right now? I'm sorry. I don't mean to. But dirty, dirty dogs is what I'm going to call them. Did everything underhanded and deliberately stole from me. So I'm sitting every day of my life thinking, Lord, why have you forsaken me? And I don't mean to make light of it, because I know me and him got some work to do, but I swear to goodness, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with this, or what I'm supposed to learn from it, or how I'm supposed to pick up and move on from it, or any of that. I don't get it. But every day I get my vitamin D. I don't eat all the chocolate I want to eat. I eat things that make sense. I get my protein. I eat salad sometimes. I try to eat 3 meals a day. I really don't. I might eat 2, maybe. But yeah, I'm not doing all the self harm things that I could think of to do. I'm self medicating only with quiet time and Pepsi. So it could be worse. Could be worse. I'm all right, but I don't understand. So, speaking of the letter I got on Friday, I'm on a clock, and now I have to reinvent myself and literally start from the bottom. Because where do I have $120,000 to give these people? It's in my house. That's literally the only thing I have. Literally the only thing I have at this point. So I'm working on a way to keep my house while I get these people taken care of, among some other things. So if you hear me say I'm bankrupt, it wasn't by choice. It was my last resort. And yeah. So if you can see the lesson, if you can see the silver lining and that whole thing, let me know. Because I don't get it. But yeah, that's what's been messing with my stomach for the last 10 months, maybe. April. Yeah, 10 months. But today it was just heavy on me. I had to talk to somebody. So thanks for listening. And yeah, again, if you got some ideas about how I'm supposed to process this, what I'm supposed to get from this, where I'm supposed to go from here, I don't know. I'm just looking for a win. So you need to hire me for my design services. The bakery's kind of closed right now. I'm cleaning up a little bit. That's part of my therapy too. Putting my house back together. Like I had let some laundry pile up and some dust and some undesirable things just hanging around. Recycles, all that. Cleaning out the garage. You know, just trying to get back to normal. Trying to get back to okay. So yeah. Design services for sale. Call me. Have a great day.